It's certainly important, very important, for probably three main reasons. The first one is that most of your market is actually not in market to buy at any given time. They're getting on with business, they're going to buy at some point in the future. But you can't be in their face all the time. And so you need to reside in their head when you can't be in their face. That's reputation, aka brand. That is where you can reside in between those periods where they're actively in market and looking to buy. Otherwise, you'll never get on their shortlist. It's actually amazing how underrated the power of brand is in the construction, architecture sectors. It's hard to know why that is, but there's absolutely no question that brand can be an incredibly powerful business asset within this area of industry. The second reason is to be distinctive. It's pretty hard to create a unique service. It's pretty unusual to have a unique methodology in what you actually do in your business. What can really help to set you apart, especially in the minds of your prospects, is your brand. Your brand needs to say what is, in fact, unique about yourself and your business. And the third one is that the brand becomes a really valuable asset of your business. It actually adds value to your business. It does this in two ways. The first is, think of a pair of jeans. You can go and buy a pair of jeans from Kmart, you can go buy a designer pair of jeans for 4 or 5 times as much. Those two pairs of jeans functionally do the same thing. They both have 2 legs, and yet there's an enormous price difference. The difference is brand. And the second pair of jeans is making the brand owner a lot more money. The other part of value that brand contributes to business is, think about Coca-Cola. Did you know that if all of their factories burnt down tomorrow, all of their product evaporated, they would have no tangible assets, but their business would still be worth billions. And of course, it's the Coca-Cola brand that they've invested in for a century or so that that retains that value. That value adds very significantly to the bottom line if you ever come sell your business. Your clients can walk out of the door, your people can walk out of the door, your brand is there for good. And so it's very important that you invest in it, curate it, build it and develop it over time. That, by the way, takes consistent effort and application. The first thing to say is that we don't work the same way across any two businesses. We don't see any two businesses as being the same, and everything we do is bespoke. Anybody that comes along and says we've got a template approach to marketing, run a mile. The second thing to say is that we develop our marketing from the inside out. We work very hard with our client businesses to establish the fundamentals, the platform for effective marketing. And that means the business needs to be very clear about who they are, what they do and why they do, exactly who they're seeking to serve within their marketplace. And these things might sound obvious, but most businesses are actually pretty unclear about it if you really shine a light brightly on it. And it's very important that marketing starts from that place of authentic representation of the business. Really, good marketing starts from within the heart of the organization, and a business has to partner with its marketers in the same way that a business partners with its finance department its operations department, its sales department. They all need to sit at the executive table and drive the business from the inside out. So we work hard inside the business to get agreement and clarification and clarity around all of those kind of business strategy fundamentals. And what we do is absolutely strategy-led. So once we've done that marketing on the inside job, we start thinking about marketing on the outside. And that's really when we get into how we should portray the business to the world, how the brand should portray itself, what kind of tactical activities we should get involved with in marketing, what sort of channels we should use, how we can best reach our target market as defined, and so on. And so our approach has both a strategic and a tactical dimension working hand in glove. And this, in our long experience, is the only way successful marketing happens. A good marketing plan shouldn't just be custom, it should be really authentic. That's why it's so important to draw it out of your business rather than have some consultant come in and impose it on you. Again, everything we do is bespoke to the company involved. If we didn't do that, if we tried to impose a solution that was inauthentic to the business involved, it wouldn't be sustainable. It would risk being a misfit. People within the business wouldn't feel ownership. It wouldn't make sense. And it's actually the cause of many a marketing program falling over, is that they didn't really do the hard yards strategically before getting into market with their activity. An example would be the work that we did with Stanton Dahl, an architect practice working in the social goods space. They built buildings that weren't so much about aesthetics as having a really beneficial impact on the people that lived and used buildings. And so we developed a positioning for them which was all about architecture in the service of people. And this really clarified for the business themselves what it was they were doing and what was important to them. And they're still using that some years later. So to pull all that together, we have a three-phase approach. We start with a scoping, research and diagnostics phase, where we look at really under the skin of the business, under the skin of the customers. We spend some time going into depth with individual key stakeholders within the business. We have a look at the competitive landscape and map all of those elements out very clearly. The second phase is a workshopping phase, it's a collaborative phase, and we're very experienced in drawing out from the business the essential kind of truths of the business and how people feel about the business, what actually is the underlying drive of the business, and bringing those to the surface and finding compelling articulation for them can be a very motivating and powerful factor within the business, but also feed into very effective marketing as you take it to market. And finally, in phase 3 of our process, we pull it all together, all the insights, all the development, all the strategic thinking, articulate that together into a blueprint plan. It's quite a significant document that becomes the roadmap for the organization, tactically what they should do for the next 12 months in marketing, but really in terms of strategy and developing the brand, we're talking about a 3 to 5 year roadmap document. It takes outside eyes and a kind of helicopter view to be able to see them, we find. So there's real value in bringing experienced consultants in to take that fresh look at the business and see through the trees and understand what the forest is. An example would be the work we did with GHD Engineering, where we totally restructured and simplified the way they presented their services in the website that we redesigned. which was no small task with such a diversified enterprise. In our experience, we can almost always find differentiating factors, but if we don't feel they're powerful enough, for some businesses that are really in a commoditized space, then we can still differentiate. What we do is create a bold brand, and the brand itself can be the differentiator. And that's another very powerful aspect of branding. Brand is an incredibly malleable concept. It's completely up to you what you do with it, how you create it, how you shape it, how you form it, and how you communicate it over a period of time. This is a deeply creative exercise at the end of the day, just as building a business is. And in fact, the two things should very much go hand in glove. We've specialised in working with small to medium enterprises for over 20 years now. And for much of that time, we operated as a pretty conventional outsourced marketing supplier, and it was very frustrating. The problem that we came up against again and again and again was that there simply wasn't the expertise within the client businesses to manage us properly, and with the best will in the world, while we wanted to drive their marketing for them, that has to come from the inside. And so I think there were frustrations for the clients and there were frustrations for us, and I think that's very, very typical of the situation in SME businesses. Most of them have a frustrating and poor track record of working with marketing advisors and suppliers and agencies. And after many years of banging our head against this wall, we decided to bite the bullet and really rebuild our whole approach. And what we'd learned over the period is that we needed to get inside the business in a more effective way. We needed to upskill the businesses so that they could actually participate in the marketing of their business in a meaningful way. And that needs skill. Many of the businesses can't afford to bring in that skill, or it's simply they don't need it. They don't need a full-time senior strategic marketing manager. And so we developed over a period of 5 or so years a hybrid service model where we place a senior marketer on a fractional or part-time basis within the business, and that person is backed by an implementation team outside the business. And so it is very much an end-to-end service offering. But it means it's accessible to the average SME, typically the kind of businesses that are turning over 5 to 50, 60 million. It's an extremely good proposition. It means that we can actually get someone in and build out the marketing function within those businesses so that as the business grows in time, they can take it over themselves. They've got processes, they've got governance, they've got data, and they've got the tools to really continue rolling marketing effectively without much reliance on outside input. However, in the short term, this is a great proposition to support business growth during that maturation phase of their development. So really that's what led us to the whole blueprinting approach, the end-to-end strategy through to tactical execution approach that the blueprint encapsulates. And we knew pretty early on we were onto something. We're pretty confident that we've found a better way. Our clients are certainly telling us that. And these clients, some of them have been looking for the right solution for many years. So it's really exciting to have got to this point. And it's very, very rare that we sit down with a business who says, that doesn't make much sense for me. Just about every SME we've ever sat down with have similar frustrations in terms of finding the right kind of solution to growing their marketing alongside the development of the other departments within their business. So, sure enough, over the last 5 years, this has been growing extremely rapidly, and we've been getting great results for clients by specialising in small to medium enterprise, and certainly having an enormous strength in the building and construction sector. Every sector is different, but I can't think of one where I can't name numerous businesses that have invested in good marketing and haven't really grown as a result of doing that. Marketing works. There is a reason why those great brands continue to invest in it. There are certainly some differences to other sectors and other types of businesses. The main one is generally the size and complexity of the deal. That's a major differentiating factor. Obviously, it might take years to close a deal potentially in the building and construction sector, and the process is complex, long, involves many stakeholders, and marketing has to take that into consideration. And one of the main implications of that is that nobody's going to buy your services on a whim because they saw a great ad. It's just not the way it works. So you need to be thinking long term, you need to be thinking constant presence, and you need to be thinking value add. It's pretty sophisticated B2B marketing that needs to be done in this sector. And really the marketing truth that comes out of all of that is consistency. Marketing is ongoing, it's hard work, you need to be consistent, and that's where people fail. They hop in, try a new marketing tactic or channel, someone's talked them into it. It doesn't work. Short-termism does not work in marketing, certainly doesn't work in B2B marketing. There is another difference in the construction sector that can also be a bit of a trap, and that is how proud we tend to feel of our end product, justifiably. We've been involved for many years on a big construction project, and it looks fantastic, and we want to talk about it. Well, that's a great case study, but what people tend to do is just put lots of images of their work, their end product, in their marketing. And doing so really means that they all start to look like each other. I know you're very proud of your project, so's the next guy. Your project looks great, so does the next guy's. And as a buyer, you're just seeing endless streams of finished projects. It doesn't explain what's different about you, what value you added. And so it's really just a starting point. It's certainly not enough to make your marketing work and to generate new business prospects for you. SMEs can't afford to fail in marketing. There just isn't enough money around. So, that's the first point to make, is that we take this very seriously. And that is why we spend the time on the thinking and the strategy, because rushing into ad hoc tactical execution campaigns and so on is destined to fail. But having said that, probably the biggest cause is, for want of a better term, a lack of nerve. I've said already that marketing takes consistency. It is a long-term investment. It has to be seen as part of the strategies of building your business. And you need to think in 12 months, 3 years, 5 years, those kind of terms. Just as your business isn't going to grow overnight because the sales team wakes up and has a new idea. It's the same with marketing. Very little changes overnight. It's the consistent application of hard work that does it. So again, short-termism is probably the biggest failing that we see. There's also a lot of discipline involved. Collecting data, analysing it, optimising it, investing in what works based on data evidence, and removing what doesn't work takes a very mindful and disciplined approach over a period of time. And the other one is not having the courage of your conviction, not being prepared to stand out, not standing up for who you are, owning your differences, being unique, and standing out. A lot of businesses feel more comfortable complying with what I call category conventions. It's about wanting to look the same as everybody else, or maybe just someone who's a bit bigger than you, but looking the same as everybody else really isn't going to work for you in terms of growing your business. And so having the courage to be yourself and stand out and find your uniqueness is really important. Not having the courage to do that will result in very average performance. If you believe you can do your own finance, do your own plumbing, go ahead, do your own marketing. But it's an applied skill and you won't do well at it. Often when we're brought in to help, somebody's been given the task of marketing. It might be an admin person, sometimes it's the receptionist, sometimes there's a junior marketer who's been brought in, who's doing a little bit, but failing to drive marketing. This kind of approach tends to result in ad hoc marketing. It's certainly never strategic. And even if you're using experienced marketing suppliers like SEO, search engine optimization suppliers or other suppliers who are giving you, with the best will in the world, they're giving you data, they're giving you reports. Do you know what to do with those reports? Do you know how to read them? Do you know how to interpret the data? Do you have baseline competitive comparisons to know whether the data says that you're doing well or not? Do you have the experience to pull all of that together and keep it coordinated and rolling along at a rate of knots? Probably not if you're a DIY marketer. And there's nothing surprising about that. Most businesses get built and grow in their early phase through the passion and salesmanship of their founders. But they find they reach a point where salesmanship can only get them so far, and they've got to take their offering to a broader audience base, and they've got to get that message out effectively. So sales continues to be critical, of course, but it's about amplifying the business's presence so that more people are coming into the funnel, and so that your sales team can move them along and close them. That's essentially the way marketing works in a high-value B2B context. The other thing we find when we come into a business that's been doing its own marketing on a sort of amateurish basis is that they haven't really developed a strong value proposition that stands out and is clearly articulated, and this is what a professional marketing team will bring to the business, and that can actually be very powerful for a business internally and externally in getting everybody on the same page, finding the kind of language that excites everybody inside the business, as well as activates the prospect outside of the business. I've spoken a little bit about inside-out marketing. The inside-out model, again, is that we put a part-time senior marketer inside the business, and the idea is that that person really becomes part of the senior leadership team of your business. They sit alongside you, they work alongside you, they feel your wins, they feel your pains, they feel accountable to the business, they feel ownership of the business, and it breaks through the all care, no responsibility kind of typical situation of an external consultant. Having someone in there with you allows them to kind of pick up on the heartbeat of the business and be an effective marketing leader, but also allows them to build out the marketing function within your business, as I mentioned, so that in time you'll be able to stand on your own 2 feet without an external consultant there managing things for you. When you grow big enough to employ your own full-time marketing staff. But there's usually a period of, we on average, it's about 3 years before that takes place. So this is a very effective means to get you from the level you're at to the level you want to be without overstepping the investment required to do that, and at the same time while building the skills and the processes so that you are ready to take that step when the right time comes. That's quite a unique arrangement. The other difference is that we have an implementation team behind the marketing director, part-time marketing director that we put inside your business. They already come integrated with a team of experts, subject matter experts, that are ready to execute as and when needed. And we're serious about as and when needed. If you've got a great marketing supplier that the marketer within your business can effectively manage and get good performance out of, that's great. They stay there. We just improve their performance, and that can certainly be part of the picture. If you have a junior marketer, it's a great way to get them trained and mentored by a senior marketer, and potentially step into the role in due course. We see all of this as the kind of lasting legacy that we try to create within our client businesses. So that's it for this series of Q&A on marketing and branding in the construction, architects and civil engineering sector. Hope you found that useful. It's an ongoing conversation and we'd love to have it with you. We'd love to talk to you about the kind of opportunities your business is facing, and we'll be very frank in an assessment of your current approach to marketing, and we'll be generous in our suggestions as to how you can progress from where you are today to where you want to be in the future. That's what it's all about.